What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday. You know what that means. Hump Day! Here at the Benzinga office, we like to celebrate Hump Day, give honor to that classic commercial. There's another classic commercial I want to talk about today. I'm curious if anyone there in the chat has that, knows what I'm talking about there. But there's another classic commercial out there that been getting a lot of love on Twitter and on social media over the past, I don't know, we'll say a little bit less than 24 hours. We'll say from about yesterday, 5 p.m. or so on, giving some hints there. But today we're going to be talking, look, this market-wide sell-off is continuing. We're seeing the Qs down right now about a 1/4%. But this is after we were up more than 1% earlier in the day, trading higher in futures all morning. And yet, giving those up today, we have some other big headlines to talk about. Moderna is now suing Pfizer and biotech. Well, actually, it's a rare. So that headline broke a couple days ago that Moderna is suing Pfizer and BioNTech. But today we got new news that they approved a new, booster or whatnot. Moderna stock spiked on that earlier this morning, now giving up those gains. But we'll talk more about that lawsuit and kind of what's going on there, because it is interesting. And then of course we'll talk about we'll check in on all the biggest tech stocks, your Apples, your Teslas, see what everyone's trading out there in the chat. And then at about 12 or so we'll be bringing on Tony. 12:15 from Benzinga, we're gonna be talking about some recent headlines in cannabis, and as well as our upcoming cannabis event that I'm super stoked about in Chicago. So typically, we had our CCC in Miami last spring, New York. This is one that I'm excited for because it's in the Midwest, right? Chicago is pretty close to St. Louis, where I'm from, close to Detroit. We're staying here in the Midwest for this CCC. Do not miss your chance to go. We will talk more about that with Tony here at about 12:15. But let's go ahead, get the show started, and I'll be right back with some BZ Pro.
This is Benzinga Live. Spencer Israel and producer AB. What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Someone told me buy high, sell higher.
Let's get Meta Hammond on the show to talk some IPOs. Jake Wojacek from Trend Spider. We have a breaking news.
Alrighty, guys. So I just pulled up my Benzinga Pro. We already have a stock pulled up. I don't know, but I honestly can't even remember if we talked about this one yesterday or not. But this is one that oh yeah, I think we did. But anyway, like about a year, or not even a year ago, less than that, 6 months ago or so, Sharon, the head of our HR department, who recently is back after having a child, her first child, she pitched this stock, just saying basically I've been seeing these on shoes more and more. I first heard about this company because Roger Federer is a big investor. But essentially, it's a Swiss tennis shoe company. The shoes, from my eye test, right, I've been seeing more and more of them, which got me interested, saying, okay, it's a publicly traded company. I'm seeing more and more of them around, whether it's work, whether it's friends, whether it's just going out. You see a bunch of people wearing these shoes. Now, I will be completely honest. That's what got me interested in it. And then, of course, I'm looking at it from a bullish bias. We looked at some of the financials. It's about a $6.5 billion market cap, did about $430 million in gross profit in the year last year. So it is a growth stock, right? If you're buying this right now and you think that the stock is going to go up, you need the company to keep growing, right? We need to see this revenue, or I'll zoom in here. We need to see this profit, because you can see had really good growth. This is annual. So you went from 143 in 19, 231, 430. It might be, a lot higher than 2022. Think about how much the, environment was different. 2021, we were basically in a bull market the entire year, right? People were spending a lot of money. People were buying a lot of goods. People were still, at least in the first part of 2021, locked down on some COVID restrictions, people buying workout equipment at home. That was still hot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this gross profit or revenue dip in this year. But I think going forward, if it is able to show, if On is able to show that growth, we could be looking good on this. $20 share price. Go back to the chart. We IPO'd at about 35 up here. Hit highs of 40 that day, actually, September 13th last year. So now almost exactly a year later, right? If you bought this last year at $40 on the IPO, almost a year later, the position's cut in half. You're down 50%. I've never had a position on it, but this is where I'm interested. In OP, I don't think this is a random Swiss name. It's a newer company that's been growing a lot. And I'm not saying, I think on the bear side, I guess, on this company, I think on the, going against the bullish case here, couple things. We talked about this with Luke, is that there can be different fads in the fashion industry, right? In the retail space, these shoes could be huge for 2 years, then no one's wearing them in 3 years. That's an 100%. Dude, so I can find a better stock than this. Well, I mean, we talk about. We'll talk about if you hang out throughout the hour and a half. If you want to count how many stocks we talk about, we can. I'm giving you all the bull and bear case here. I'm saying bear case completely could be a fad. Flip side, look at Crocs. We looked at Crocs. I mean, why Crocs was a fad. Crocs came down. Now it's coming back up. So, actually, this is, I thought we were on the monthly still from yesterday. This is where Crocs first hit the fad in 07, 08, came back down, came back up. I'm basically just saying if On is able to keep growing at the rate it's going, its stock price will definitely be higher than $20 come, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. Caleb Gonzalez saying that he likes the shoes. I actually don't. I've never had a pair. I just keep seeing more and more people have them. And like I said, they make different kinds. I think recently they've been trying to get more into the actual running shoes. Like I think a lot of people were wearing them as just casual tennis shoes going out, going to work. And I was doing some research, and this is kind of going against the bull case here. It sounds like hardcore runners actually don't. Maybe some of them do really like the On-Ons, but it sounds like a lot of them prefer either Asics or Brooks or some of these other tennis shoe companies that have been around for a while. So I don't know how bullish I am on it actually breaking into the running space in terms of like the hardcore marathon runners are going to go out here and buy this. Maybe not, but I think that's okay, right? If a lot of other people are buying them. Yeah, I mean. I'd say it's because On's expected to grow, right? And it's not that Crocs isn't expected to grow, but probably not at the same pace right now, right? You're paying a higher premium for the potential for more growth here. On's only been around for about 10 years. I wonder when Crocs has been around since probably Let's see. So, I mean, yeah, Crocs is a lot further along, right? It's like, Crocs is like the Coca-Cola compared to this, and this is the Celsius. Gus talking about FaZe. I haven't looked at this stock in a while. We can do that. FaZe Holdings. Sorry, hold on. I'm coordinating with our guests coming up. We'll drop some tickers in the chat. So we want to look at FaZe here. Let me see. Gus Phillips saying FaZe. There's a huge cost to borrow this short, almost 100%, could move fast. I just don't understand. I understand FaZe and FaZe Clan and everything. But like, where are the earnings for this company coming from? Branded content? Like, is that it? Just like TikToks and trying to create ad revenue? That's just what I don't understand about the stock. Is like eventually the stock is going to have to as a public company, like say how much money it made or lost. And I just don't know where it's like making money from right now. Let's check out energy today. Energy has been whiplashing the past couple days. We were down about 3% yesterday, up about a little bit more than that the day before. Checking out the XLE here, which is your Spider Select Fund for energy. Looking at, let's go over to a daily chart here. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, as you can see, energy it's having actually a pretty good day, up 0.25%. Let's see what where we're at on the SPY. SPY pretty damn flat. I know what phase is. I'm not saying I don't know what they do. I'm saying how are they going to make money, right? They don't own the esports business that they compete in. Well, I mean, I'm sure maybe they do have their own competition, like own tournaments and stuff. AVCT. We can check out AVCT. Simple Rick. American Virtual Cloud Technologies. Okay, a little penny stock, up 50% today. Nice little pump. I wonder if this is getting picked up. I mean, yeah, I would. So here's what I'll say, and this is, from a kind of degenerate standpoint, but also like, if you put a gun to my head and I had to go one way on this, I'd rather go long this. I'd rather bet a stock that's up 50% randomly is going to be up another 50% more than I would just bet for it to go down from here. And I'm not saying everyone go buy this. This is certainly not investment advice or anything like that. Penny stocks are riskier. They're riskier than normal stocks, especially if you're buying one that's already up 50%. But like I said, if you put if I had to choose one way or the other, I'd go bullish here. Botbot saying FaZe has 11 competitive esports teams. I know. Okay, so again, I just don't understand enough about the industry to know, like I know for NFL teams, the teams make money through their TV deals, right? ESPN pays a lot of money to get the rights to broadcast Monday Night Football, and then that money gets redistributed throughout the teams and to the players. And I'm basically just saying I don't know how I don't know how that works for esports. Maybe it's the same. Krause saying I stepped away from my desk for an hour and Baba is back up. Let's check out Baba. Yeah, I mean, I'm still long this in my portfolio. I'm not like adding to my Baba position down here above others. I think looking at the chart, it does actually look pretty decent down here. You've got these multiple times where we've tested down here and picked it up every time. And I don't even want to. I don't even need to like zoom in and see the exact moments where I can see he kind of had double. It doesn't matter to me. What's important is that, okay, around this range, around 85, it seems like we're not really going to go lower than there. And what I like about also finding that level is then when I do put that long trade out there, I can put a stop loss right there and say, okay, if we get down here, I'm out of the trade. So that way, if it drops another 5% from there, because it's either going to do, it's either going to bounce right off there. So I would actually probably set my stop a little below it, just so I said, okay, if we actually fall through, then I'm done with the trade, rather than if we just hit that pivot point. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I think that the macro environment right now in China, in the U.S., and in our relations with China, there's just so much going on. I think there's going to be a lot of elevated risk in these Chinese names, no matter what right now. All right. I did also want to talk about Moderna. I mentioned it earlier. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, to this story, Moderna announced I want to say about a week ago. Let me try to figure this out. Moderna. Yeah, let's get the. Okay, actually, this was just in Bloomberg yesterday. What did we learn from Didi? Yeah, I mean that's what I said. I said any Chinese investment right now is going to have more risk than U.S. names. But if we go back to it, I mean you can see too from the chart on Baba, it's like there's a chance you know potential better names, or potential better returns too if it does get bullish because you're already down like 80% compared to if you look at Apple, you're down 10%. Moderna sues Pfizer BioNTech over COVID vaccine despite pledge. So here's the backstory: is that in 2020, when COVID was being rolled out, or when COVID was spreading throughout the country, Moderna basically came in and said, "Hey, we've been working on this mRNA technology for a while. It's in their ticker, right? That is their ticker, mRNA." They said, "Okay, Pfizer BioNTech, we're so altruistic, we're so for the good of the people. You guys can use our patents, our technology. We're not going to sue you." Well, they're kind of walking that back now. So basically, came back and said, "Hey, we do want to." So here we go. The mRNA vaccines in question, all three companies here as the pandemic when the shots started rolling out in 2020, allowing us to begin creeping out of hiding after more than a year and a half of sequestering ourselves in the face of COVID. At the time, I wasn't so much of a competition for market share. It was a race to see who could pump enough shots out to vaccinate the world, and of course, make billions while doing so. Now, Moderna claims Pfizer and biotech deliberately copied key elements of Moderna's mRNA technology when developing their COVID shot. Pfizer and BioNTech have denied the allegations and say they will defend themselves. The question everyone keeps asking is why now? And why does Moderna hope to accomplish, or what does Moderna hope to accomplish, since it's only asking for a cut of the profits, which could be tiny compared to the billions of dollars it's already made from the pandemic? Moderna says it needs to protect the mRNA technology from a platform it spent a decade and billions of dollars creating. Its company name, after all, is a portmanteau of modified and RNA. Moderna has built its brand all around being the frontier of mRNA tech. And that's what I was saying, is their ticker is mRNA, right? Long before COVID. The author continues, suing is a classic strategy companies use when they want to pressure another company into licensing their technology, says Jorge Contreras, a law professor at University of Utah. It's possible, he says, that Moderna has been trying to prod Pfizer and BioNTech into such an agreement for some time to no avail. So, I mean, basically, they're asking for royalties, saying, "Hey, if you used our technology in these vaccines, we want some money back from those sales." I did hear this morning they were talking about only in high-income nations. I don't even know how you quantify. I guess you just make a threshold and say, okay, if a company has an average per capita, household net worth of X much, they're a high-income place and they can charge it there. They said, okay, we're not gonna, tax essentially Moderna. Or Moderna is not going to try to take some money from Pfizer if they're distributing it in a low-income country. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's something going on here with Moderna, right? Like why they're kind of coming out now looking for this extra money. Because I think if things were ho-hum, right, they wouldn't take the hit on the PR saying, okay, this company made a pledge during COVID. We're going to be the good guys. We're going to put all our technology out there. It might have just been one person looking at it and saying, hey, we could make, a few $1 million off this pretty easily. They probably will all end up settling. It probably won't go through some sort of, like strenuous court process. OP saying Altimmune. I haven't heard of that one. Permacho, a word blending. Yeah, I mean, I got the context clues there. Podcast. Oh. Is that really where podcast comes from? I was actually thinking about this the other day. I remember, Because like when I was like in third grade, portmanteau. I like that. Learn something new every day. When I was like, I don't even remember how young, but like when I had my iPod like video and I could download music videos on there. I'm not saying that, Ivan. I'm just saying it seems to me like if you make a pledge as a company, right? I mean, think about if McDonald's said, all right, for every kid that comes in, we're going to give a free toy with the Happy Meal. Then all of a sudden they start charging a quarter for the Happy Meal. You'd be like, all right, are they trying to make up for costs somewhere else? I'm not saying it's not a smart move. I've seen a lot of people speculate on Twitter. I saw someone speculating as far to say the government is a big investor in Moderna. The government was probably, poking Moderna to do this to try to get, some extra returns. I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily true. Or I mean, I just don't know, right? It's just like all allegations. So we don't know if there is some sort of, okay, we're losing money in this part of the business, we got to do it here, or if it's like you're saying, Ivan, just regular business as always, trying to improve the bottom line as much as possible, trying to return as much value to shareholders. I don't know. I'm not preaching one way or the other. I'm just saying I don't know. But yeah, what I was getting at with the iPod thing was I remember specifically when like iTunes rolled out podcasts on there. Like for some reason, somehow there was just like one podcast from in St. Louis. I was like about the Cardinals that would download on there like every week. And that was in like 2006. I want to say it was just like so early for podcasts. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. That's the nature of businesses. It's yeah. We'll see. Lots of red to green and energy today. Many 8 to 10 point reversals. I think that's a great sign, right? Because if you see, let's see, can we get a live sector performance? Is that what? Yeah, I mean, looking at which sectors are doing well today, looks like communication services are your leader, up about 1.17%. Consumer discretionary down a little bit a little bit less than 0.5%. Consumer staples up about 0.4%. Energy up about 1.6%. Financials down, but pretty flat. Healthcare up 1/3 around. Industrials down about 1/10. Industrials down about 2/10. IT pretty flat. Materials down a little bit more than 0.5%. Real estate up a little bit more than 0.5%. So pretty mixed across the board. I mean, the things that really stand out to me, obviously communication services performing very strongly today. And then the rest is just kind of hanging out. Nothing really too exciting. Alrighty. Now would be a good time, everyone in the chat, to drop some tickers. We can, I'll go back to my Benzinga Pro. We can run through some tickers. I do have some names that I've been watching to add to. Not really any like new sleeper names. I'd say my sleeper right now is on. But one sleeper, that I have been looking at is if Nvidia gets down to, and I'm not saying Nvidia is, but I'm saying I think a lot of people have kind of, they're not interested in it right now. And we talked about it with David Green, I believe, yesterday. But Nvidia below 150. I mean, if we start getting down to this like 134 level, I will definitely be adding to my Nvidia position. OP saying Moderna CEO is French. Never trust these guys. They're lying. Yeah, I've never been to France, but I'll keep that in mind. Josh Pitts and Beyond is trading below its IPO price. Probably haven't been able to say that for Beyond in a while. I mean, this chart is just absolutely crazy. I'm going to go full screen here so we can really look at this. I mean, I just can't believe this thing got to be a $250 stock. Like, who in their right mind was buying Beyond Meat up here at $250? I might have been, honestly. I have no clue. All right, just got word from Tony that we'll be on in a few. We will be talking again some cannabis headlines if you're invested in the space, some MSOS or some other ways. We will be talking some cannabis headlines as well as our conference coming up here in just about 2 weeks. Time really flies. We're getting close to it. FSLR, isn't that First Solar? Damn, son. Is Solar just having a good day across the board? Not really. Why is this one breaking out so much? Oh, there you go. A new price target. Altimmune for my boy or girl. I don't know. OP in the chat. I don't know. I don't really know anything about this company. Let's see. In Benzinga Pro, we can find out pretty quickly. Scroll down here. Altimmune is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company focused on the development of novel peptide-based therapeutics for the treatment of obesity and liver diseases. The company's lead product candidate, Pemvidude, blah, 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 blah. So I usually don't invest in kind of pre-revenue, you know, clinical stage companies. But if you've got a compelling pitch, OP, let me know. Oh, wow. Easy Mike saying bought this at 4. What a steal. This thing's been on a rocket ship since 4. Just for fun, look at Jay-Z. I don't even know what this ticker is. Is this something that just IPO'd? All right. Look, we checked out First Solar. We checked out Jay-Z. I don't really have anything. I don't know what to say. I mean, it just opened. Down to $5 though. Sounds cheap. $5 sounds cheap for a whole stock. I wonder what's going on in the Activision deal. I haven't heard about that in a while. What's the buyout price on this? 85? Urban Farms Project saying Beyond Meat is not the easiest stuff to cook. It burns a lot quicker than a hamburger. Yeah, I can't remember. I've tried one of the two. I can't remember if it was the Impossible Burger or the Beyond Meat, and I was actually pretty surprised. Like, what I would say is that it was more enjoyable the more you like dressed it up, right? Like if you go everything you would put on a normal burger, right? Pickles, cheese, you know, like everything you would normally do on a burger, and you do that on the Impossible or Beyond Meat. It's okay. But if you try to eat it, you know, like if you're eating a really nice burger, maybe you don't need a lot on it. If you try to do that with the Beyond Meat or Impossible, I didn't like it as much. That was just me. With that said, I haven't really tried that much, or haven't tried it that much. So definitely will have to do so more. Let's go back, check out on the queues. Yeah, guys, I don't really have any active like trades. Like I'm just adding to my long-term long positions right now. Outside of that, no active trades. I'm curious in the chat if you guys have any open, yeah, Beyond Meat was a great trade 2 years ago. I mean, this was when this is like the clearest example of like, yeah, we had tight or sorry, the opposite of tight monetary policy. You know, a lot of stimulus going out and whatnot. I mean, we saw the stock go from 44 to 220 round trip back down below 40, 220, 225 bucks. I don't know. I'm not down for this one. Ooh, I like the way your head's at, J Rice. Market internals much better than last 2 days. Tomorrow may see new funds. First a month could easily rip. Yeah, and that's something it's typically, I think it's more important, more I guess like pertinent at the end of quarters, because they're looking at like, all right, meeting quarterly goals and whatnot. But there is restructuring going on during those times, so maybe some increased volatility. I don't know. Check out the ETF IPO. I'm seeing Crowd. I'm seeing SWAV. Easy Mike, we had an imbalance of a billion to the sell side. That doesn't sound good. All right, let's go to Benzinga's homepage real quick. See what kind of stories we're working with. So I don't think we've talked about Snapchat yet. So Snapchat announced yesterday, or actually it didn't announce. The Verge reported, and it was before the market closed, that Snapchat would be laying off about 20% of its staff. It may end up being a little bit more from the articles I was reading. It sounds like different departments within Snap might get hit harder than others. It sounded like their AR VR department, of course, the spectacles, the Snapchat hardware did not do very well. They are going to be laying people off in that department. But the stock today is actually doing okay. Up about 7.5%. So Snapchat having a nice day the day after The Verge, of course, reported that's laying off 20% of its staff. I don't know. It's a little strange to me to see the stock up so high today. But it did announce restructuring plans. It's in trying to return that value to shareholders. And so we'll see if they end up being able to do so. All right. I do see our first guest hanging out in the back, Tony from Benzinga. We'll be talking about some headlines in the cannabis space over the last couple weeks or so, as well as the upcoming CCC. So if Tony's ready, if he gives me a thumbs up or something, I'll go ahead and give him our very special introduction, and we'll bring him on the stream. There we go. Ready to go. Love it. Mr. Tony, how's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I don't know if we've ever met, I guess, face to face, but how's it going?
It's going wonderful, and I'm kind of happy to be. I think this is my second BZ Live appearance, and the first time was on election night in 2020. And
oh
that
wow!
was an experience. Yeah.
That was a while ago. That was I guess before my time here, I think.
Yeah. So like my wife and I, we ordered Chinese food. I poured myself a little bourbon, and we talked about all the cannabis legalization that was potentially happening that night, and there certainly was a lot. That was an unprecedented moment for cannabis legalization, and covering the news that rest of that year was just such a ride, and we sort of find ourselves in a similar situation this year with the back and forth among politicos.
Yeah, and so Tony, you're more in the weeds, pun intended, on what's going on in the cannabis space than I am. What's been the big headlines over the past couple weeks? I'm looking at the MSOS fund here. It looks like since about mid-July, MSOS was at around $10, up to $13 now. You know, it seems like there's been maybe some bottom fishing, I guess, or at least some people buying down here.
Yeah, I think the investor activity is definitely on the up. I think if you compare it to other sort of, I always thought of cannabis as this fringe sector, and I think it's coming out of that. You know, if you think about all the attention that crypto is getting, but I mean, anybody who knows reading crypto news, it's a very volatile market. I think you're seeing less volatility in cannabis, and it's certainly a testament to a lot of institutional investors getting involved, and the hype around potential M&A deals and venture cap, and it's a sector to keep an eye on. And if you have money to work with, I would consider a lot of the big players there. And no, I am not the SoFi guy, Jay Rice. And he gets all of my SEO, that Anthony Noto. So yeah, I'm friends with him on LinkedIn.
There you go.
And I sometimes get invited to golf outings that that they intend to invite him to, and I sometimes get those golf outing invites.
There you go. You should go crash one sometime, unless they're also trying to get you to like sponsor it and pay.
Yeah, no money there to do that.
So as far as, I mean, for some people out there in our audience right now might not be invested in the cannabis space, what do you think, is like do you think people are waiting for potential federal legalization? What do you think the next big catalyst will be?
Yeah, we mentioned this in one of our top read stories this week. There's a lot of situations going on in a few different states where cannabis is legal, at least when it comes to medical. So when you look at a situation like Florida, for example, there's a lot of talk about what to do with fees and how these companies should be taxed, and the direction that Ron DeSantis would take that. And one of the top headlines, I believe it's still on the top page. If you go to benzinga.com/cannabis, you'll see it in the top 5. DeSantis would be willing to charge companies an arm and a leg for operating in the state. And that's something that I think a lot of the stocks are going to be looking at. The CEOs are going to want to see how this is going to play out after Election Day, because if he's a favorite to win and a potential U.S. Presidential candidate, that's something to keep an eye on. So, and as we saw in South Dakota, things could change. You could have, the people can vote, and then the rules can change even after they vote. How well did democracy work there? So, if you're willing to stomach that as an investor, that could really, you have to keep an eye on the political side of things in ways that I don't think other industries, other sectors, you have to.
Yeah, so going back, can you give us some more context on exactly what happened in South Dakota, you said?
Yeah, the situation there is they voted for cannabis legalization, but there was this rule that I think they couldn't push through a particular vote. Because a vote couldn't have more than one topic, and then they had to. They pretty much yanked it back, and wow. That hasn't happened in any other state. I think it's sort of a unique scenario, but again, that's something to keep an eye on in terms of the dynamics between the political sides, the different sides of the aisle, how they approach one, the vote, and two, how businesses will flourish in their state. And we're having that problem here in New York. I'm a New Yorker. We're pushing through legal cannabis here recreationally, and there's a big debate on fees. And a lot of people had high hopes of New York being like this place where they can do the recreational, where they can usher in recreational cannabis the right way, as opposed to the way California did it. But that's not the case, and New York seems to be in pretty much a big mess here. And so when you look at companies like MedMen and a couple of companies here are pulling out operations and canceling deals and the like. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be September tomorrow. We're basically only a month and a couple weeks away from the midterm elections. Actually, no, 2.5 months, right? November, all of September, all of October. So we're about 2.5 months away, but I do anticipate a lot of these things you're talking about, right? Well, you got to think what's going to be, politically the hot button issues, right? It's going to be inflation. It's going to be cannabis. It's going to be, probably a few other things too. But I think by watching, what's going on, and as we get ready to head in that election, that something like these cannabis names, like you mentioned, if the right people are trending in the right direction, could get interesting.
It's going to be fascinating. If you're, I know sometimes people can get a little turned off by the political rhetoric of it all. But it's interesting because cannabis, I think, is one of those industries where sort of the right and the left find a lot of common ground. And for the most part, they do want some sort of reform. And it's sort of, it could change depending on how far right someone might lean. So like in a state like Pennsylvania, for example, the gubernatorial race is very interesting because on one side you have a candidate who is very vocal about cannabis legalization, and another who is not far behind him in the polls so far, who thinks it's a stupid idea and is killing women and children. So if you're an operator in that state, an MSO who has a stake in this, how do you feel? And how will investors in those companies feel? Those are things to consider going into November 8th, because it's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, and I think that one in particular, the Pennsylvania one, is one that on a national level, a lot of people are watching. Of course, two kind of big personalities there between Fetterman and Dr. Oz, and then
Dr. Oz. Yeah, so it's interesting. There's the Senate race and then the gubernatorial race, and all of those characters are just.
Oh, you were talking about the governor. I was talking about the Senate. So
there's two to consider, because they both have a lot of big ideas on cannabis, for better or worse.
We all do.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's see. I'm gonna see if the chat's got any questions for you, Tony, just about maybe the cannabis industry at a large or specific funds, whatever it is. But also, I know we've got our CCC, our Cannabis Capital Conference coming up here in just 2 weeks. Going to be in Chicago. I'm pumped about it.
You should be. Yeah, it's a big deal. I'm looking at the list right now of potential speakers and confirmed. Actually, no, they're confirmed speakers. And I'm blown away by it. Benzinga Cannabis Insider host Elliot Lane just shared with me the list, and it's awesome. Just names like Tim Seymour, Matt Hawkins, Aaron Mills, Boris Jordan, Kim Rivers, Nancy Whiteman from Wana Brands, who I had the pleasure of interviewing before. If you want to know about any sort of corner of the cannabis industry, whether it's edibles, vapes, distribution, these are the folks to pay attention to. Emily Paxia. All names that pop up on our website fairly often. We give them the coverage when moves are made with their companies and their rivals. And also some really cool names like I believe Ric Flair, the nature boy Ric Flair is confirmed to be there, and Iron Mike Tyson will hopefully be there. And Yeah, it's awesome because they're such big names, but also because they can provide that perspective, that sports perspective of just how beneficial responsible cannabis use was for them in dealing with their injuries and recovery. Um, we've done quite a bit of coverage on that, and it's interesting to if you're a sports fan to have those as guests, those guys as guests as well.
Yeah, 100%. That might be one of the things I'm most excited about. I see Fatura Fairmount in the chat saying MSOS. That's how I get my exposure to the cannabis space. And right now, like I said, I mean, it looks like from what I've got pulled up on the chart here, we've hit a point where it doesn't look like we're going to go much lower than here. So I can buy some of it and put a stop loss. And if we do end up testing the lows, boom, I'm out of the trade. But yeah, I think MOS is a great way, especially as beginners in the cannabis space, to just get some exposure, hold it over time, and then see what happens.
Yeah, that you want to play the long game. A lot of the folks who write for Benzinga.com, our journalists, they talk about that, how that's a wise way to be. And the MSOS is definitely the way to go. If you just don't want to, like if you don't know which stocks to pick or where to look at, that's definitely the wise choice.
Hell yeah. Well, Tony, man, thanks for hopping on. I'm going to drop that link in the chat for the Benzinga Cannabis Conference. Anyone welcome to get a ticket, come join us in Chicago. It will be a great time. Again, that will be, I believe, September 12th through 14th or something like that.
That's correct, yeah. And it's Chicago. It's my kind of town. It's got a great jazz scene, too. So if you do go, now that COVID restrictions are lifted, you can go and have a good time at the Cannabis Conference, and also head up the downtown jazz scene.
Hell yeah. All right, Tony. Well, again, pleasure getting you on. We'll have to do it again soon.
All right. Take care.
You too. All right, guys. Oh, that was Tony from Benzinga talking about all the biggest headlines in the cannabis space, as well as the CCC, of course, coming up. Excited about that. We do have our next guest hanging out as well. My main man, Matt Wallace. Haven't had him on the show in a while, but you might remember Matt Wallace, been on the show a few times. Was big into Dogecoin back in the day, early on too. Matt Wallace got a lot of his Twitter following, or not just Twitter, but YouTube, a lot of it when Dogecoin was really hot. And we haven't really spoken to Matt a lot since then. Here's that link for the Benzinga Cannabis Conference. But Matt's getting ready to launch a new website, so we thought it'd be good to bring Matt on, talk about that. I'm excited to do so. Looks like we're going to be getting Matt audio only, which is all good. But let's still give him our special intro, and we'll bring him on.
This is Benzinga Live. Spencer Israel and producer AB. What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Someone told me buy high, sell higher.
Let's get Matt Hammond on the show to talk some IPOs. Jake Wojacek from Trend Spider. We have a
breaking news. All right, wait. Matt, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, how are you doing, man?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm doing well. Well, how are you?
Good. All right, looks like we're losing you a little bit, but let's see if we can hold on for a second. So, Matt, you got a new website coming out, huh? All right, looks like we're losing Matt a little bit. Let me get y'all some more info on the website, because I was talking to Matt off stream last night a little bit about it. Sorry, guys, just trying to deal with some of these difficulties in the background. Let's try bringing Matt on again. Matt, how's it going?
Going good. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Perfect.
So, is the website live yet? Can we visit it?
So it is not live yet, but it's going to be launching on September 1st. And I'm going to be posting a link on my Twitter. And everyone who signs up on launch day will get 15% off for life. So that's the promotion we're running.
Wow. All right. Well, go ahead and drop your Twitter in there. Any other, I saw on Twitter that Dogecoin will be an accepted payment method on there. Any other teases you can give us about the website before it drops? And by the way, the first is tomorrow. You can say that the website's dropping tomorrow now.
Yes, that's true. So in 12 hours, approximately, it will be live, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. Well, congrats, man. You've had a crazy journey, obviously building up your brand, building up your audience over the last couple years. So we've been excited to watch what happens next. This website coming out in 12 hours.
Yep, I'm excited about that. And obviously, I can't just come on and talk only about that, or else we probably have a little bit of a boring segment. So, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the crypto market also and the state of it and where we could see it going. So, we just had a former Goldman Sachs executive who made a comment that he believes it's possible for the entire cryptocurrency market to get up to over $200 trillion, which would be a 200x of where we are right now. And on my show, I talked about that a little bit yesterday and kind of where we could potentially see an opportunity for that to happen. Obviously, 200 trillion is an extremely large amount, not something we can expect to happen necessarily, but I've kind of analyzed, is it possible? Could we actually see that? And when you look at the ability for cryptocurrency to grow in comparison to the entire global economy, there really is room with people using it as a payment to go across borders outside of the government, with people using it as a payment service to pay individuals outside of the bank. There is the potential for us to see that crazy growth over the next decade, which would obviously lead to Dogecoin going pretty substantially up to around $7 to $12 in that range, and would lead Bitcoin going up massively as well. So if we can see some sort of push even anywhere near that range, I think it's going to lead to not only mass crypto adoption, but everyone who's in crypto now will be participating in what is perhaps the largest wealth transfer in history.
Yeah, so what I'm curious about, and since you're more into, following the crypto markets every day and you have your audience and whatnot, have you noticed a lot of people have kind of gotten out of the markets and then not gotten back in?
Oh yeah, of course, yes. So as the bear market has continued on, we have seen a number of people saying, "All right, I'm out. I'm not risking it. I got to pay rent or whatever it is," and that's when you have to pay rent, you're not going to keep your money in the crypto market. And when the economy is looking like this, with inflation up there, in the double digits almost, you kind of gotta avoid risks. And so as a result, it's kind of like a weird thing where inflation's so bad that you need cryptocurrency, but inflation's so bad that you can't hold cryptocurrency because you can't afford it. So it's kind of like this weird give and pull that we're seeing now, and a lot of people are staying out and not wanting to get back in for the time being. What will change that is once the economy starts to look up again, hopefully, we don't want to be too optimistic necessarily until we actually see some policy change that's helpful. But once that happens, and I'm confident at some point we will see that happen, then I think we'll start to see the upper predictions coming into light, and people want to jump back in the market.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people just in the crypto space in general have been waiting for that. And if I had to guess, I mean, it's probably going to coincide with when the Fed pivots and when the overall market turns around, and who really knows when that will be. But for right now, it looks like, and I've just got Bitcoin's chart pulled up here. It looks like Bitcoin, and here I'll go to a daily chart, is holding it's holding 20,000 right now. We're kind of just trading sideways from here. But you do have this gap down, and eventually, you got to think Bitcoin does come back up to 30,000, and then maybe 40,000, then maybe back up to all-time highs.
Yeah, and I made a prediction 5 months ago approximately that we would see, and that was when Bitcoin was all the way up around the 50, 60K range, that we would see it go down to around 21K. But if it fell below 21K too much further, then we would see it bounce back up relatively quickly. And I've held true to that prediction for the last 5 months, where you've seen all sorts of predictions all over the place. Changing here, changing there based on the market. And I've just said, okay, I'm sticking to this one. and no matter what happened, I'm sticking to it. And so far, it seems like we're seeing that play out. Now, technically, if we see some crazy bad news event coming out, we could see the market falling further, but I would not put that at a high probability. I say if it goes too much further below 21K at any point in the next few months, we'll see it bounce back up within the few months following.
Got it. Well, Matt's Twitter is in the chat. Everyone go give him a follow there so you can check out the new website coming out in about 12 hours. Matt, always good to catch up with you. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this crypto market goes. We'll have to get you on again soon to talk about any recent developments.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I just actually had a crypto pick that has been going pretty crazy. I picked it when it was launching with $1 million of liquidity, went up to $20 million market cap in about 5 days. It's just continued to be a really, really strong pick. And so we're coming off of that into the website, which of course I'm going to be continuing to do crypto picks on there. And we have a big swing crypto pick that is coming only 2 days after the website launch tomorrow. And so a lot of people are going to be signing up and trying to get the spots as quickly as possible before they fill up. And so, yeah, if you're listening right now and you're thinking, hey, I want to see a cool opportunity in the market potentially, then you're welcome to come and check out the website. Also, we have a bunch of other things, articles and stuff like that. And so I'm just really excited about it.
Beautiful, Matt. Well, like I said, always good to get you back on. We'll need to do it again sooner next time, so we don't have to wait so long to have you back. Everybody smash the like for Matt and go give him a follow on Twitter. Matt, we'll talk soon.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
You do the same. All right, guys, that was Mr. Matt Wallace. Twitter is in the chat, Matt Wallace 888. Go ahead and give him a follow. He is launching that website here in about 12 hours. Super excited to check that out. We'll probably be doing some more coverage of that on Benzinga. But all right, guys, so we've been looking at Bitcoin for the past few minutes. Let's transition back to stocks real quick. Let's go to the S&P, see where we're at. S&P pretty flat, down about 0.1%. Your Qs up, although, again, pretty flat, only up about 0.5%. So overall, pretty flat day in the market. Right now, you do have some movers. We'll check in on those, of course. We'll see how Tesla's doing again. Still not performing well off that stock split. If you were one of the people out there that went out and bought this heading into the stock split, because in years past, every time Tesla's done a stock split, the stocks run. Haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that yet. Not sure, if we are, but OP, what is the next Luna coin to invest in? Oh, he was asking Matt, not me. I don't know. I'm pretty much not interested in any coins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and even those I'm not really interested in right now. I think when the Fed pivots eventually, maybe it's at some point in 2023, we could see another huge bull run in crypto, and I'll probably be trading it at that point. But right now, I'm literally not even holding like any Bitcoin for reals. I have negative Bitcoins. No, I don't actually have negative Bitcoins. Let me know in the chat. Okay, there we go. I was just gonna ask for some stocks. David read my mind. KPLT. Catapult Holdings is a buy now, pay later, I believe. Is an omni-channel lease purchase. Yeah, I think it's kind of buy now, pay later-y. I don't know. It's only $1. What am I thinking of? If this isn't it, then which one am I thinking of? I don't know, man. The chart's ugly. It's $1. Usually, the old saying goes, like, stocks that are $1 are $1 for a reason. Right? No one wants them. Yeah, Brian Blockchain saying I would stay away from anything Luna does. I'll trust Brian Blockchain on that. Mr. Blockchain probably knows more than I do about why, to stay away from Luna. Oh, I remember earlier in the show. I'll throw this out there to the chat. All right, fine. We'll go back real quick just because I saw another stock coming in. CBRL. Oh, Cracker Barrel. Wow. I don't think I've ever looked at this stock. I like Cracker Barrel. Great establishment. Great breakfast. I mean, I expect it's going to be pretty cheap. It is. Price to sales below 1. Forward PE 15. Oh, and they've got a divvy? I mean, yeah. I'm not going to like back the Brinks truck up on this and make it my whole portfolio, but you know, if you're, I mean, yeah, this thing's been moving really nicely too. I think if you're looking to like add something that is more of a value play that offers a dividend, and I'm not saying this it could certainly grow, but do they have any other brands? So its restaurants are open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with menus that offer home style country food. Okay, so it doesn't sound like they have any like outside businesses or anything, which I actually kind of like, because when you start doing that, you start getting too diluted. Like your core business can be doing well, but then your, you know, subsidiary brands might not be doing as well, and it can actually hurt the value of the stock over time. But yeah, man, I don't have, you know, too much to say on this stock other than the chart looks decent from here. Maybe, you know, a short pullback here, and then if you hit this 104, have some support, bounce off there. But you can clearly see the trend reversed here, right? We were in a bearish trend, boom, 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 all the way to down here, and then boom, a new trend has been established. This is a bullish trend so far. You know, we do have this pullback if we zoom in. But again, if you're just building a diversified portfolio and you're looking for something like Cracker Barrel that's a little bit more, you know, we'll say boring. You know, it's just like an old boomer restaurant. Although I like it. I really do like it. But it's like an old style restaurant, right? You're not making a bunch of money off alcohol sales and stuff like that. So who knows? I do like the fact that it does offer a decent dividend. This is saying 4.8%, which is significant. Well above the industry average. More than double the industry average. All right, so earlier in the show, I don't think we had a lot of people here yet. I was talking about, I forget how it came up, but there is essentially a old commercial. Oh, okay, that's how it came up. Old commercial, because we were talking about Hump Day, the old Geico commercial. There's another old commercial that was getting a lot of love, getting shared on Twitter. And I'm curious if the chat can guess which one I'm talking about. This would be within the last 24 hours, starting probably about, I don't know, 19 hours ago. This advertisement, this old commercial started getting shared more on Twitter. If no one guesses it, we can just go ahead and play it. Yeah, easy, Mike. I agree. Got to trust Brian when it comes to the blockchain stuff. Do they have a lot of Cracker Barrels in Vermont? I didn't know that. I always view it as more of like a southern thing. We have a bunch of them in Missouri. I don't know if I've really seen one up here in Michigan. Probably around. We could probably check on their website. Locations. All right. Where does it... Is this where it thinks I am right now? Well, let's pick my location. We'll start here. All right, yeah, so there are a few in Michigan. Not really anything super close. Closest one to me, 12 miles. Yeah, see, back in Missouri, it looks like we've got a little bit more. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I'm not, you know, gonna go out and buy a bunch of this stock. Oh, a lot of the decor in Cracker Barrel is just stuff from Vermont. I don't think I've ever been to Vermont. I've been to my mom's from the Northeast. My mom's from Massachusetts, so we go up there. visit her family every now and then, but I don't know if we've ever made it over to Vermont. Wait, actually, we went skiing in a place that might be in Vermont, technically. Jiminy. Oh, no, it's not. Jiminy Peak is in Massachusetts. That's where I learned how to ski. All right, guys. Let me find it. No one guessed the commercial I was talking about on Twitter yesterday. Let's go ahead and find that. Classic. We're gonna go ahead and give it a watch.
Yeah, make around $10,000, and it's all online. It's actually not from real estate. If you're someone that's looking to get into real estate, let me educate you on it.
Это Горбачев.
Горбачев.
Это из-за него у нас в экономике бардак.
Но благодаря ему у нас новые возможности.
Это из-за него у нас политическая нестабильность.
Да благодаря ему у нас свобода.
Полный хаос.
Перспективы.
Политическая нестабильность.
Да благодаря ему у нас есть писахат.
За Горбачева!
За Горбачева!
За Горбачева! За Горбачева!
Sometimes nothing brings people together like a nice hot pizza from Pizza Hut.
That is a classic for people asking what that is. That is a Gorbachev Pizza Hut commercial that aired in 1997. Just an absolute classic. There are other. Well, let's play it now.
Among themselves,
Just go straight to some
reveal
Ronald
they've got a great
Reagan
sense of
tells
humor,
Soviet
but
jokes. We
they've
could watch that
also
video
got a
too if
pretty
you would.
cynical attitude toward their system. And
I'll be honest, and I saw this a lot on Twitter too. When I found out Gorbachev died yesterday, I had no clue he was still alive. There are other funny ads too with Gorbachev. I don't know why he was so popular for like advertisements, but this was a. I'll show you guys this one too. Yeah, that's why we're sharing this, is because Gorbachev just died yesterday again. I didn't know he was alive. But yeah, he did an ad for Louis Vuitton. Oh wait, I'm not even sharing my screen. He did an ad for Louis Vuitton. Try to find it. Yeah, right here. He's got the bag right here with his magazine in it. He's in a limo or a town car, and then the back seat here, looking all fly. Old Gorb. Gorbs for the last time. Yeah, the Pizza Hut was trending yesterday. Has there ever been a has there been like an American brand in the same timeline as Pizza Hut that has, really like evolved as a brand over the last 30 years? Pizza Hut back in the 90s, like when I was a kid, like Pizza Hut was the place. The World Nuclear Symposium. I mean, you got to think with all the energy crises going around Europe and stuff. If not now, then when? Like, if not now, when are people going to start, saying, okay, maybe we should be looking at. Okay, that's a great call, Josh Pitts. Radio Shack. It's the same, and Blockbuster too, for that matter. Blockbuster, Radio Shack, Pizza Hut. It is a choppy market. Long LVMH. Yeah, it's the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. Whatever it's called. Let's get my Benzinga Pro pulled back up. We should check out LMVH. I haven't looked at this stock in a while. LVHM? Nope. MH. Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. Yeah, I mean, So I don't know. I mean, I think with the world, like with everything going on in Europe and stuff, like there's a chance like luxury just kind of has like a not great year. But with that said, too, you got to think the people that are buying Louis Vuittons, the people that are buying, Dolce and Gabbana and all this stuff, like they're gonna be fine even if inflation. I mean, Jay, I think there's a lot of people like I would say probably more so like leftists rather than just like your more classic like neoliberal party. So more like in like the Bernie Sanders camp than the Joe Biden camp that are very pro nuclear, and then on the right too. I think that's one. That's like one of those ones where I think the mainstream on the left and the right, like the mainstream Republicans and the mainstream Democrats, aren't really in favor of nuclear, but then both kind of more, I don't want to say extreme, but like I think all the I don't know. There are groups on the left and the right that are both pro nuclear. Sums up with the NVO. Check that out. I think I talked about this on the show the other day, but I was surprised. There's a nuclear plant, south of Chicago, where I was there visiting, and there were signs in everyone's yard saying we want to keep our nuclear plant. I guess they were talking about phasing it out, and people were saying, "Hey, it's good jobs. We like the plant, whatever." And it's kind of goes against what you hear, right? You hear, "Oh, people don't want nuclear plants in their backyard." The opposite. These people wanted to keep theirs. They fought to shut down California. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's so stupid. I think we should be, if anything, investing more into it. All right, guys. Any tickers in the chat? I guess we can talk about, or we look at you while we're talking about nuclear. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where, as an investor, we talk about all the time. Like you can be too early, right? And I don't want to be too early on the nuclear trade. I think even if we start seeing some of the governments saying, okay, maybe we should invest some money into this, it'll be years and years down the road before a lot of these companies get those benefits and are profitable because of them. But you will get a nice bump if there is a lot of talk at that symposium of people like I'm saying. Basically, I would be shocked if the different leaders at this World Symposium aren't like, yeah, hey, maybe a year ago we weren't that interested, but hey, now we are. Now that gas prices are 800 times higher than they were last year, right? Now that we have Russia basically deciding how much oil and gas we get, or the Saudis. Maybe we want to have some more freedom. Maybe we want to have some more say in that. We can do so by investing in nuclear. Yeah, I agree with Night for Humanity. It's fantastic. We're just not good at management. There's more risks involved than other forms of energy. And there's just the whole problem of storing the nuclear waste. I think that's where people have gotten, where the holdup has been really in growing nuclear. And to OP's point, yeah, solar, wind is all getting cheaper as, we invest more into it. So if you look at the price of, I saw a thing, I forget where it was, I forget what country it was. I'll have to find it because I don't want to, give y'all any bad stats or anything. But it was basically just saying, showing how at certain times, right, because the energy market is determined by demand, right? Your cost of energy fluctuates. At certain times, I think it was somewhere in Texas where they have a lot of wind farms. The energy they were getting from windmills was actually cheaper than through like the whatever they were using, fossil fuel. I think this was in Texas. I got to find the exact thing. UEC. It's a ticker? I don't know UEC. Oh, it's a uranium play. Yeah, I assume they look pretty similar. UUUU and UEC look, yeah, they look pretty similar. Lithium is a nasty mining process. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that picture. So that was a little bit misleading, I think. People were sharing that picture all over Twitter saying like, oh, you know, you think green energy is so clean. Like this is so much worse than, I know Rob Schneider shared it. Man, Rob Schneider, yeah, this is what I was talking about. I think this is kind of misleading because you can find a lot of other, you know, this is an oil sand site in Alberta and it, you know, looks all okay. You've got all these trees and stuff. And here's this huge quarry, this huge mine where they're mining lithium. But I mean, you know, I don't think, right, like you can find another picture. Maybe it's on the original one. Yeah, like this is also from, you know, oil. It's like they could have shared this picture and it looks very similar. A little bit misleading, but definitely 100% the mining for tan is still the play we gather. Solar, wind, cheap. Yeah, here, let me try to find this thing real quick I was talking about that was showing the prices of solar, wind, and SMR is a nuclear stock. Yeah, again, I maybe I should just, you know, now when I'm in my, you know, mid-20s invest in some of these names and just hold them for a long time. But like I said, I don't want to really be too early on this. All right, it might be harder for me to find this stat thing. So let's go back to Benzinga Pro. I'll keep looking for it. But keep throwing some tickers in the chat. We've got about 10 minutes left. We'll take some tickers from the chat. And then if, or any big headlines anyone wants to discuss, we can do that as well. That's not Benzinga Pro. That's just the website. Not just the website. It's a great website. Yeah, well, I mean, I wonder if I gotta try to find someone who is a like expert on the European energy market, because I keep seeing these the charts on Twitter of the price of energy in Germany and UK, and I'm seeing headlines that the UK might have to shut down pubs to save energy, right? They might say, okay, bars can't be open so we can save energy in other places. I honestly, like, I kind of have a hard time believing all that happens. I feel like it's more likely than not that there's some sort of relief at some point. But who knows? Here we go. I finally found it. I knew if I just went. No, wait. Actually, it still isn't it. But this is still interesting. It's related. Let's see if I can share this. Share. Here we go. Share screen. Oh man, no, it's not letting me do it. Oh, here we go. All right. Now I can do it. Now we can do it. So yeah, I don't think this isn't showing the price. This is just U.S. electricity generation by all source, all sectors. And you can see here in the green is renewables. So from 2012, where you can't see my cursor on it. Well, either way, bottom left of the chart on the left, the little green bar you can see as that grows. Nuclear is in pink and is pretty steady. Coal is shrinking, but then I believe this year probably will look different. We've used more coal, I think, this year than in past years. Here's the percent share. Here's the forecast. So going forward, so natty gas expected to make up the majority, followed by coal, and then you have nuclear at about 20%, and then below that you have renewables, and then in the gray other source, which I don't really know what that is. So we'll see. I'm definitely, I have exposure to the clean energy, quote unquote, renewable space. So I'm, going to be a tad bit biased there. But I also have exposure to the oil and gas space because I have a very diversified portfolio, and I'm also in a lot of just indices that hold the different, stocks. Where price? I'm trying to find this still. Going through, I don't know what you mean, Jay. Lord of the Flies is back. I haven't read that book in a while. Yeah, Night of Humanity. Coal is caveman tech, but check this out. This stock has been insane this year. I don't really know any other stocks or coal stocks besides BTU. That's just the one I check, and I figure, hey, if coal's doing well, BTU is doing well. This thing, we'll look at it on weekly. I mean, it has just been on an absolute tear. Been some big drawbacks, some big pullbacks, sure. But what is it? August 2022. Let's go back to August 2021. Right here. It's at $10 at 24. This thing is up 200%. Yeah, Easy Mike. I also think that's interesting. I don't know like the full details of that. I do know, I think, the different car companies across are putting more and more money into their EVs. I'd be surprised if by 2035 it isn't just, across the country, not just in California, that basically every, like stock model of every, Toyota Camry is going to be Yeah, Jay, Jay, I think people, anyone who's like a proponent of renewable energies that is sensible knows there's probably not enough infrastructure and whatnot to meet demands right now. That's why I think natty gas is very interesting, is because it's very clear right now, at least, that natural gas is going to be kind of our stepping stone toward less carbon emissions. And I don't know how long, it takes, what the process is. But, I just, you got to think like, okay, down the road, is this going to be sustainable? Are we going to be able to just rely on oil and gas, natty gas, and coal? We need to be producing some percentage of our energy from these other sources. I think there are a lot of people out there, not even from a, environmental or from a political standpoint, economists, right, looking at things, looking at the cost-benefit analysis, saying that we can't afford essentially not to. Arch? Are you talking about the St. Louis Arch? Because we're talking about BTU. It's a nice little pull you got there. Nice little pullback. I 100% agree, Jay. I think, well, I think for now, I mean, I'm not going to speak for the future. I mean, in 2050, there might really not be a use case for oil and gas outside of, you know, people that still have old cars. I really don't know. I mean, who knows? But yeah, for right now, anyone who's trying to, I mean, even with nuclear, that's my favorite. And I wouldn't even say, oh yeah, we'll just get rid of everything else, go all nuclear right now. Like, no, use more nuclear, take some pressure off some other places. All right, Greg, it's a good point. Very good point. I think, yeah, there probably will always be a need for fuel like that. I'm just thinking in terms of like what's powering our like energy or our electricity grid and things like that. Maybe we're at a point in 2050 where it's not how we're doing it now. I have no clue. My expertise is not in the energy space. I'm not going to pretend it is. I was open about my investments. I do own natty gas stocks. I do own different oil and gas stocks. I own more clean energy stocks though, and so I probably have more of a bias toward that. But I also just think that's where we're headed. I think, you know, even if you know, Trump was in office right now and Biden wasn't, would that mean there's going to be no investments going into these clean energy companies? No, of course not. It's private money as well as making government investments and subsidies and whatnot. And that's historically been a very strong combination for investors. If you have something that private and government funds are flowing into, typically that's worked out as a good investment. Yeah, I really think like, and there always will be trades and like cyclical, you know, times you can buy something like Chevron and swing it for 20%. We can see it here, but there's a reason, like you said, like there's a reason they pay dividends. They got to attract investors. I mean, look at this stock from 2011 to 2019. We were on an incredible bull run right then. From 2011 to 2019, what did Chevron do? It went from 108 to 121. It went up $13 in about 9 years. So from, we'll say, May 2011 to January 2020, up about 13 bucks. We'll compare. Okay, so we'll compare this SPY. That was pretty flat. We said April, or what did we say? I mean, yeah, the S&P obviously way outperformed Chevron in that time frame up until, you know, you got that COVID crash. But from here, so yeah, I mean, if you were buying Chevron like at a time a couple months ago, you're probably up a bunch. But for the most part, I don't think it's worth buying and holding these stocks right now. All right, guys, it is noon. Time for stock market movers. I believe no Mitch today, but Chris Kachi will be filling in. Should be a great show. I'm excited to tune into that. I haven't seen Chris on stream in a while, so nice little treat there. Please smash the like if you have not already. Give me a follow on Twitter at AaronBree5, and we will be back tomorrow, just a day away at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Till then, peace and love, y'all.